Hi, welcome back to the Chico SAT review series. And today we're going to talk about a new topic. It's polynomials. And in the polynomials, this topic, we're going to have 3 videos to cover the polynomials. The first video we're going to talk about is how to combine the polynomials. And in fact, the first part of this one is pretty simple. I think most of the students have no problems with it because it's very straightforward. You just need to be very careful about the negative sign, positive sign, those things. Then the second topic, the second video, we're going to cover how to find the zeros, or sometimes we call the roots for the polynomial. This is the topic a lot of the students sometimes get confused, okay? And then the third one is here, and the third video will be just a miscellaneous topic of the polynomials. And there's no specific things we cover here, so it's just a different type of the polynomial questions that have been happening in the previous SAT exams. So some of them is try to find the solution, some of them is try to, give an x, so what is the y, just different type of the things related to the polynomial. So that's why I put it in the video number 3 here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. If you take a look at what we're going to talk about in the video number 1 here is combining the polynomials. I'm putting like a total 9 problems here. So this is the first 5, and then this is the another 4. And when we finish this, then we're going to go to the second video. So I'm going to just stop here and go to the whiteboard and try to finish the first ones here. Okay, so let's take a look at what do we mean the combined polynomials here. All right. Okay, so the combined polynomial, like I mentioned before, in fact, it's a pretty easy things, right? So the few things we need to be careful here. So for example, the number 1 things we need to be careful when you combine here, right? So you only combine what? You only combine the similar term. Right, so you combine the similar terms together. So for example, if I have, okay, so if I have x cubed, okay, so if I have like here, I have here, if I have x cubed y squared minus 2xy squared plus 3x cubed y squared minus xy plus y squared, then plus 3xy squares, right? So if I want to combine these ones here, as you can see here, right? So I need to combine exactly the same terms. So like these ones here, this is x cubed y squares, right? So I need to find the x cubed y squared. Right, so these two are exactly the same, right? So here, this is x cubed y squared. And so what I need to do here, so I can combine them. So these two, and it will become, so I use a different color codings here. So this will be 4x cubed y squares, right? Okay, so now let's take a look at the next one. Next one is xy squares, right? So xy squared, do I have any xy square? Oh yes, I have the xy squares here. So this is negative 2 plus 3. So what I have here, I have what? 1 xy squared left, correct? Okay, so that means you want to combine the similar term. Then the remaining, this is the xy. I have nothing similar, the xy's here. And then the last terms here, this is the y squared. And if you like, sometimes they will ask you, say, hey, because all these have y's here, so you can factor the y out, right? So if you factor the y out, what is the first one going to have? So this is a 4x cubed y plus xy, then minus x plus y here, right? So you can do that. So the first thing here we say is combining the similar terms here, right? And then the next one's here. Okay, so 4 equations here. If I have equations, okay, then the constants, constants for the similar term are equal. What I mean here. So for examples here, if I have, okay, so if I have 3x cubed plus 2x squared and minus 5x plus 5, well, plus 7, okay. So if I say this one is equal to the ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. So I mean the constants have to be the same, right? So the first one here, take a look, this is x cubed. So the x cubed is here, right? So I know what is the a here. So a is equal to 3. Then the same things here is for the x squares, right? The x squares here, x squares here. So what is the constants here? So I know b is equal to 2. Okay, now here, like I said, the combining typical is very simple. The only thing you're going to make a mistake is negative sign. So here this is the x, right? So this is x. So that means the constants in front of them should be the same. So this is the c. So what is here? The constants in front of them is here, right? So it's negative 5. So that's why we say the c is equal to what? Negative 5. So the same way here is the, so what is here? Here is the constant d. So here's a constant d. So what I have here? So I have a d is equal to what? Equal to 7, right? So that's the second rule. So for the combining the polynomial, if you have an equation, you have your polynomial equation, then the constants in front of the similar term has to be equal. Then the other ones here is kind of just a couple important formulas here. We call it a factor formula, right? So those are the ones we're going to use. The first ones here, we use this a lot, so make sure we know how to do it, right? So this is the a squared minus b squared. So we say this ones here is equal to the a minus b and the a plus b. Okay, we're going to use this a lot. Then we also have this one, we say a minus b squared. These two, that's where a lot of students also make a mistake. Also, these two are not equal, all right? So these ones here basically is you need to FOIL like these two, right? So I think that means a minus b times a minus b. So you will have a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Right? So the same way is here, you need to remember this formula, a plus b squared. This will be what is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And you won't believe I frequently see the student make a mistake. So for example, like if I have 3x plus 2y squared, right? So frequently, student will just say, oh, here will be what? It's 9x squared plus 4y squared, right? And now, please don't do that, right? So this is not true, right? So this is wrong here. So this square, you cannot just carry the ins here, right? So you need to FOIL it, right? So you need to be very, very careful. Like I said, right now when I put the formula here, looks, oh, well, that's obvious, we learned this, but sometimes when you take the SAT test in a hurry, and you will make those silly mistakes here. All right, so that's just a few things to remember. And now let's go to take a look at our problem. Like I say, it's very simple problems. I think that most of you know how to do that. The only thing you need to be careful is the negative signs here, right? I will going to show you what type of the problems a lot of the students going to make here. Okay, let's take a look at the first ones here, all right? So these ones here, okay, when we try to combine, so I say x squared y minus 3y squared plus 5xy squared, okay? So here, the first mistake, see here, be careful, see here, right? So I have a negative sign, see here. So some students, they do take the negative sign to the first one. So you say negative, negative, oh, so this is a plus x squared y, good. And then for the second term, the student forget about it. So they say it's 3xy squared. No, this negative sign has to go where? Go every one of them. See here. All right, so be very careful. So here, then this negative will be what? It's a negative 3xy squared. And then this is a negative, negative. It's what? Is a plus 3y squared, right? So be careful, right? So, you know that this negative sign has to go everywhere inside the parenthesis. Like I said, this is the most common easy mistake. Okay, let's take a look at each one. This one is x squared y. Do I have x squared y? Oh yeah, very good. I have x squared y. So I can combine these two. So what is these two going to be equal to? So these two will go to be equal to the 2x squared y. So this is the one I highlighted in the greens, right? Okay, let's take a look at the next one. This is negative y squared. Do I have y squared? Oh yes, I have y squares here. But this is a positive 3y. This is negative 3y. Whoa, what happened? Cancelled. Okay, that's good. So I don't need to write down anything. Okay, so now let's take a look at the next ones here. This is xy squared. Do I have xy squared? Oh yes, here this is xy squares, right? So this is a 5 and minus 3. So what I have what? 2xy squares, right? Okay, so that is, right? So be careful. I say it's easy. The only thing, that's why I mentioned somewhere you're going to make a mistake. It's those negative signs here. Okay, now let's take a look at the second ones here, right? So it's the same thing. They want to test you the negative sign. So in here, let's break out of the parenthesis first. So this is x squared minus 3. Okay, so remember this negative sign go where? This negative sign need to go both, right? If you remember this, you should be good. So this is 3x squared. So what is the next one here? So this is a negative 5, right? Okay, so now let's just try to find it. So this is x squared. Do I have x squared? Oh yes, I have x squared. So what is my answers here? So this is a 4x squared. Do I have a constants? Yes, this is my constants, right? So it's negative 3 and no. So it's what? It's minus what? Minus 8, right? Okay, so my answers here. So this is the green one, and this is the pink ones, right? So my answer is 4x squared minus 8. Okay, now let's take a look at these ones here. They said, you know, if this things here is equal to ax plus bx plus c, so what is these values here? Okay, so let's try to simplify it. So this is a 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. Okay, so it's negative again. So like you see, the SAT, the College Board, they like to test you this negative sign concept, right? Almost 3 problems that they have here. So this is will be what? It's a minus 2x squared, right? Be careful, this negative signs go where? Go every one of them, right? So be very careful. That's what they're going to test you. So it's negative, negative will be what? It's 4x. Right? Then negative 2, negative 1 is what? Plus 2. Okay, so now let's try to combine. Oh, x squared. Do I have x squared? Yes, right? So be careful here. This is a negative 3. This is a negative 2, right? So what is my x squared terms going to be equal to? negative 5x squared, correct? Then the next terms here is x terms here, and x term. So for the x squared terms, be careful. The other common mistake is the student may see negative 3, but in here they forgot this negative sign in front of it. They just use 2. Okay, so the next one here is this term 5x, 4x. So what is the x here? This one's here will be what? It's 9x here, right? Okay, and then the constant. Constant, this is negative 2, this is a positive 2. It's what? It's 0. Okay, so I don't need to write it, right? So this one, if you want, you can write it 0. So this will be equal to the ax squared plus bx plus c. Remember, if it's equations, then the constants has to be equal. So, okay, so what is A? A is negative 5. What is B? B is 9. And what is C? C is what? C is 0. C is 0, right? Okay, so B is 9. Okay, better handwriting here. All right, so remember, see the 3 problems in a row. You need to be careful about this, in the negative sign. Okay, so let's take a look at this one here. So this is 7532 plus 100y squared. Okay, now these ones here, they have a 10, and you need to FOIL. So let's distributive properties, right? So what do you have here? You have here is will become 100 what? Y squared. Don't forget the 10 has to multiply 110 also. So this is minus 1100, and this one I give you. Okay, so let's not do the right hand side yet. Let's try to combine. Okay, do I have y squared? Let's take a look. Do I have a y squared? Oh yes, I have a y squared. So when you combine the total, how many y squared? I have 200 y squares, right? Then I have a constants term. My constants is 7532 and the 1100. Be careful, the negative sign in front of it, right? So that's where the student make mistakes, right? When you're in a hurry, try to finish the problem. So it's 7532 minus 1100. So it's what? It's a plus 6432. And then they say it's equal to ay squared plus b. So as we see here, the similar terms, their coefficient will be the same. So what is A is here? A is 200. What is the B here? B is 6432. And the problem asks you is A plus B. So what is A plus B is here? So it will be 6632, right? Okay, good job. All right, so that's what we did. So remember that, right? So we used distributive property and how to break it. And like I said, it's a very simple problem. And you have to get, if those type of problems happen in the SAT, those are the easy problems to get the credit, but you need to be very careful about the negative signs and the distributive properties here. Okay, let's try to do one more time here. This is negative 2x squared plus x plus 31 plus 3x squared plus 7x minus 8. So the same things here, combined x squared. So this is negative 2x squared, positive 3x squared. So how many x squares I have? I have x1, x squared. Okay, now let's take a look at the x term. I have 1x and 7x. So how many x I have here? I have what? Oh, I need to use this. So I have 8x. That's right. Now the last things here, the 1, don't make mistakes here, right? So the constants is 31. So the most common mistake a student make it is, oh, it's 8. So it's no, it's negative 8, right? So don't forget that, the negative sign, and then it's plus 23 here. So is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So the same coefficient with same. So here the x squared really is what? The x squared really is, you can say, is 1 times x squared, right? So what you get here, so you get x, the a is equal to, we can get is the a is equal to what? 1. And the b is equal to what? 8. And what is c? 23. So the problem asks to find a plus b plus c. So it's 1 plus a plus 23. So it will give you 32 here. All right. Did you see it's very similar? Those problems, just like the things every year, is the similar type of the problems. And just be very careful about the negative sign. I think you'll be fine. Okay, so the next one is even easier. So they said find the sum of these two, 3x squared minus 5x plus 2, and x squared minus 5x squared minus 2x. So you basically just say, okay, this is a 3x squared minus 5x plus 2, then plus 5x squared minus 2x minus 6, right? Okay, so the first thing is here, x squared. Do I have x squared? Oh, yes, I have x squared. So what is the answer here? So this is ax squared. Okay, now let's look at the x terms here. Be careful, x terms. So this is x, this is x. So what is the x terms here is -5. What is the next term here is -2. So what is here? So it's a -7x, right? As I say, when you read the constants, it has to include the negative or positive sign in front of it, right? So the last one here is a constant, it's 2, and this is what? 6 here. Don't forget it's -6, right? So 2 and -6 is what? Is negative what? -4 here. So super easy here. Okay, so now let's take a look at this one. This is the one is we'll try to test your, like we talked before, right? A minus b squares, right? So you really need to formulate, right? So if you say, okay, so use the formula we just discussed. So if you say this is A, this is B, right? Okay, so let's see, how do we, so it will be A squares, right? So this will be 1.5 x to the square. A square, what is the formula? Minus 2ab. So minus 1.5x. What is the b here? B is 2.4 here. Okay. Then plus b squares, right? So the b squared is 2.4 to the square. Right? So this is my first term. Then minus, right? So minus, I need to use the distributive property for the second parenthesis. So this is minus 5.2 x squared, right? So this is a minus 6.4. So minus is to give you what? Give you positive 6.4, right? Okay, so now let's simplify it a little bit. So 1.5 to the square, you will get a 2.25 x squared. So minus 2 times 1.5 is 3. 3 times 2.4 is what? Is 7.2x. Okay, then 2.4 you square is what? Is 5.76. Okay, and then minus this is 5.2 x squared plus 6.4. Okay, now combine, okay? X term, x squared term, x squared term. So this is a what? This is a constant, 2.25. What is this x squared term? So it's a 5.2? No, it's negative 5.2, right? So it's a negative 5.2 and 2.25. So what do you combine? You will get, so it's a 2.25 minus 5.2. So it will give you negative 2. What? 95 x squared. Okay, now combining the x terms. X terms here. There's no x terms here. Okay, so that's good. So only one x term, so it's minus 7.2x. Now, combining the constants, this is 5.76, and this is 6.4, is positive 6.4, right? So when you add the 5.76 plus 64, what do you have? You have 12.16. All right. So what is it that they try to test you here? So for these ones here, the College Board try to test to see you understand this equation or not, like the one we reviewed, right? So this is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. That's what we try to test you here. Okay, so now the number 8 is interesting also. Let's say the expressions, right? 1/3 of x squared minus 2, and can be factored into the 1/3 x minus k, x plus k. Well, k is a positive value. What is the value of k here? So what is this one the College Board try to test you? They try to test you is this. It's like, they try to test you the formula we just reviewed. What do they try to test you here? They want to test you the a squared minus b squared is equal to what? It will be equal to the a minus b times a plus b. Okay, so the key here is, you see this is 1/3 is the front, right? So this is the 1/3 is the front. So basically, it will tell you here, so let's take a look at let's try to do this problem here. So this will be 1/3 x squared minus 2. Because the 1/3, after you factors here, right? After you factors here, 1/3 is in front. So I know I need to take the factor the 1/3 out first. So this is x squared. Okay, so 2 does not have 1/3, right? So if you put a 1/3 out, what is here you're going to get? You're going to get what? 6, right? Because if you use a distributive property, so this is 1/3 times x squared, so it's give you 1/3. Then the 1/3 times 6 will give you what? 2. All right, so that's the one thing. This is pretty important, right? So how do you, from this step is very important, right? How do you factor the number out and then adjust inside the constants? Okay, so now this will give you, this is 1/3, right? So this is 1/3, and now the a squared minus b squared, right? Okay, so let me try to write it a little bit. So this one's here, in order to use that formula, I need to use a squared minus b squared. So what is the 6 to the, what is the 6 going to be 6? Oh, I noticed it. So this is the square root of 6 to square. Right? So now I see a match here. Very good. So what is my A here? So this is my A. What is my B here? This is my B, right? So I change it to the A squared minus B squared. Okay, so now let's take a look. So what is we have? We have A minus B. So it's A minus the square root of the 6 times A plus B. So A plus the square root of the 6. All right? Okay, so last one is here. Last one is pretty easy. So they also try to test you these formulas here, right? Okay, so this one the same way they want to test you the a squared minus b squared formula. So you need to remember this formula because it happens so many times on the test. Okay, so this is y equal to the x squared minus a here. So I want to use that formula. So x squared minus, so it's x squared. So how can I get another squares here? I can take the square roots of the a, then take the square. Hey, did you see here? So this one's here. So this is the a, and this is b. See here. So what you have here, you have a squared minus b squared. now I can do is I will just write it, right? So this will be x minus b, a minus b. So will be x minus b. What is minus b? What is b? Is the square root of the a times a plus b. So it's x plus the square root of the a. That's right. So what is the answer for the correct answer? It's B here. All right. So that is about the first video. It's very, very simple techniques. Is how to combine the polynomials. It's very simple, but almost every SAT the exam, they always have one of those problems, and it's not hard, and you should get a credit of those type of problem. The only thing you need to be careful is, when you carry over the negative sign, you use the distributive property, that negative sign you carry over to all the values. All right, and also when you try to find the constants, make sure you go all the way to see the sign in front of that constant. The constants here. Those are the places that students typically make mistakes here. Okay, so that's it for this video, and I'm going to stop here. And if you like the video and find it helpful, please subscribe to the channel. And so every time when a new video posted, you will see it. And I'm looking forward to talk to you about our second video, is how to find the roots or zeros of the polynomial. That is the topic a lot of students was very confused about. Okay, so it's nice to talk to you, and you have a good day. And I'm looking forward to talk to you and on our second topics here. Okay, bye.